How difficult is this for the Democrats? This looks very difficult for them. The process seems to be a mess.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really the look they were going for, to put it lightly. I think what Democrats were trying to do here with Iowa was potentially, as a party, sort of cull the field, potentially, have some of these candidates that haven't gained as much traction. Often we see those types of candidates drop out after Iowa. And so having really no results to report at this stage kind of makes everyone a winner. And so in that sense, everyone kind of goes home with a trophy, and the historically large field doesn't really get any smaller right now.
And it was pretty surreal, wasn't it? I mean, in the early hours of this morning, European time, we had candidates who thought they would have known the results, giving speeches that looked as if they were assuming that they had won in some senses, giving bits of their victory speeches.
Well, and because of the way the caucuses run, because they run differently from primaries, it's not people alone in voting booths, it's people gathering at meetings. I think some of the candidates did have a pretty good sense of kind of where they ended up. And so they were able to give those kinds of speeches. So as you say, it's a bit of a surreal moment here where there are no official results, but I think the candidates that are in the race do have a sense of how they finished, and so those that finished strongly, people like Pete Buttigieg, who feel like perhaps they finished even strongly than perhaps anticipated, are giving these speeches and looking ahead now to New Hampshire.
Right. Well, he wasn't anticipated to come in at the top, so even if he gets second place, that's good for Pete Buttigieg. It's a small rural state, Iowa. It's not a great predictor of the winner. So why is this contest so significant?
Well, I think it's significant because in terms of the narrative of the 2020 campaign, because Iowans vote first, there is a sense that whoever gets a quote-unquote ticket out of Iowa is going to be a real contender in the race. And often whoever finishes in the top 3 spaces in Iowa become the candidates that get the most media attention. They perhaps get additional donors. They're seen as really becoming the front runners of the race. And so that does drive then the narrative in Washington going forward, particularly because there tends to be this gap of about a week between Iowa and New Hampshire. And so during that week, when the public's attention and the attention across the world starts focusing in on the presidential election, really all they have to talk about at that stage is what's done in New Hampshire. So it gives out what's done in Iowa. So it gives Iowa this sort of outside influence in determining, at least, if not the nominee, at least who the initial frontrunners are.